Hello, we're here at the Unique Customizations, and we're going to talk about some modifications to a 2020 Winnebago Horizon. There's a lot of dead spaces in these coaches that the factory doesn't make access to, so I've made access to a lot of it. We're going to talk about that. My name's Ted Richardson, and I've been working on RVs for about 7 years. I'm a certified RV technician, but I do not do it as a living for my livelihood. I'm a retired airline pilot, and so this basically is my yacht on wheels now. I'm a retired Coast Guard Reserves, as you can see by my tag right here. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to start right here at the front with what I've done to capture these dead spaces in the front of the coach here. Okay, first of all, we got a deionizer. Added the deionizer, and the reason I added this deionizer was so that we could have deionized water for washing the windows when you stop to get fuel. And it's just hooked up to just a regular old pocket hose. Just a pocket hose. You want deionized water, and the water's coming from the coach. So if you're at a campground, it's coming from the campground. If you're just on the road, it's coming from your tank. So just have a valve right here. Open this valve, and you got deionized water out of this hose. And I store it just in a little plastic bucket. And you can see over here on this side, they're actually little trash cans. You can get them at Walmart and Target. This is all dead space up here that I took advantage of. So this actually is deionized water. There's some soap over there, and I've got a windshield washer up here in the front. We can see that later. But the other feature up here is I have a pressure washer in the back that I added to the dead space. Now this deionized water is mounted in a piece of PVC, and you just have to make a mount for it. But anyway, this all dead space, all captured space. So the deionizer will send water back to the pressure washer through a set of 3 valves up here. If I want deionized water in the pressure washer, it's simply take this hose off, add this hose, and then turn 2 valves, and I've got water to the back. And we'll take another look at that later. The other thing up here is I've added air lines. An air line from the brake system to the back. I've got a power reel, or a reel in the back for the air hose, and it's plumbed in right here off of this T. You can still plug in a hose right here for air, but this line runs all the way back to a bay. And of course, you keep this off and just in case there's a leak, so you want to make sure you have a valve to turn this off while you're not using it. Also have an outlet. Added this outlet up here. It's just a regular outlet, and there's just a small cord. It's just kind of put up there with a tie wrap. But that's like, originally I had a golf cart and I wanted to charge the golf cart, and the easiest way of doing it was just put a plug up here, a GFI outlet, and you can plug the cord in. You can plug the golf cart in right next to your coach. Okay, back in the engine compartment. Again, a lot of dead space in these coaches. So the first thing I did was I added this. This is just a little shelf made out of aluminum angle iron and some diamond plate, and it's a shelf to carry whatever it is you want to carry that you don't want in a compartment. It's not clean because you're getting road dust, but nonetheless you can carry. What I carry in here is a diesel can to keep the coach filled up whenever I'm using my aqua hot, if I'm going to be parked for a period of time. But start with this, putting this shelf in. It's a little bit tricky to be able to get to it. First thing you got to do is you got to take this section off. You got to take this whole section off. You need 2 people to do it. But once you get this off, you can get access to it. And the other thing is, there's a big hole right here. Once you take this light out, there's one screw to take this off, and there's 8 screws to take the lights out. You unplug them, then you've got access. You can put your arms in there, which made it much easier to install this 2100 Lowe's Green Machine pressure washer. So it's kind of up in a dead space, kind of hard to get to, but if you take these lights out, it's easy to get to it. Now, what I also added is another outlet so I can plug the pressure washer in. It's just a GFI outlet. Shorten the cord, it plugs in right there. Next thing is water. You got to get water to the pressure washer. So this is plumbed up from the front, so you're getting regular ship's water or deionized water through this valve. I guess it goes through this hose up to the pressure washer. You can also add in another hose here just for convenience. But basically this whole purpose of this is to get water to this pressure washer. Also, I can drain out with this Y on here. I can easily drain the water out so it's not staying trapped in the pressure washer. This little thing right here this is what I cut off of the pressure washer. Now this pressure washer was on wheels when it comes. So I just took it off of the frame, mounted it, and then this is the little device they use to hold the nozzles. So I just mounted it right here. It's out of the way, you can't see it. And I'm going to close this back up. Okay, these are stainless steel stanchions for a boat. They're actually stanchion bases. It's a stanchion base. You can get them at West Marine, or you can order them off Amazon. But anyway, the original bases are much smaller, so this gives a much better footprint because I'm starting to get a little bit of a cracking up here in the fiberglass. So this gives a much better base for the ladder, so it's a lot safer. And so anyway, they're put on with 1/4-20 screws, and they're screwed right into machine screws. Screwed right into. Winnebago actually put some aluminum backing on these things, and you can actually tap right into them, and it's a much stronger base, makes this ladder a lot safer. Just want to keep going here. Okay, so this area, this is just it's kind of my garage where I keep my hazmat. But originally, all this was open here. And of course, this is the chassis batteries, but all this area was open, it was dirty. And so I decided to try to keep the dirt out. So I put these in, and these are just made out of closed cell foam. Get it Lowe's, and I just sprayed it black, and I put some edges on it, and I just screwed it, and I mounted it here, and all its sole purpose is to keep some of the dirt from coming up in here. So I've got weather stripping all around it, and then also on the top. It still gets a little dirty in here, but it keeps the majority of it out. And well, if you want to come right here, we'll show these. These are some pieces of foam that I've added after I did all this project, and this is just foam from Lowe's, and I glue it with spray foam. And so what this does, it keeps some of the dirt from coming in up here as well. And probably can't see it right here, but anyway, there's a piece of foam up here, and a piece of foam down at the bottom, and this is just keeping the road dust and road dirt from coming up into the compartment. Okay, moving forward from the passenger side, these Winnebagos, they put in this Norcold refrigerator, except when they put it in, it's really nice of them to put it on this table that you can come out and load it, except when the drawer came out, the refrigerator was too far back on the slide. So far back that when you raise this up, you couldn't fill it up. I mean, the door won't stay up. So my first thought was to mount it as far forward on this tray so that the door stays open and I can load it. But it also created some space in the back. And what I do is I use this space. I have a lot of fasteners, stainless steel fasteners. It's basically my hardware store. I've got all these plastic containers. But once it's closed up, there's not a lot of room, but nonetheless it holds up. It's basically my hardware store, Ace Hardware. Now also in here is we have a power reel. This is for camping. And the only problem with this is you have to find a power source for it. Winnebago, when you get this coach, the outlet is usually over here. Of course, it's over here. It's blocking a big space, so you can't put stuff back to the corner there. So I moved it over to that side. So it made the power reel more accessible and out of the way, and it gives you a little storage space back there. Carry some pieces of wood, and it's just kind of another dead space. Over here I've got tools. Also had to remount that light, so a lot of times you can move these lights to someplace more convenient that you like. Alright, this is probably the most significant modification of all the modifications, and I did this early on, because when you open up this compartment on your brand new Winnebago, I've got a boat up here, we're going to use this in a minute, I'm going to use it as a pointer for right now, but when you open up this compartment, you do not see any of this space back here. This is a solid wall that goes straight up. Underneath this is the water tank. It's totally dead space all the way through to the other side. Totally not accessible. Here's the power reel, the air hose reel coming from the nose. If you want to air up your tires, all you have to do is start the engine up, open the valve up front, hook it up here, and now you have air. So this is basically a two-piece. It's just plywood. It's covered with some carpet, and you have to put it into two pieces because it won't fit in one piece. But anyway, it's put together so that it's easy to take out if you need to get to anything. But also it's got all these ledges so stuff won't slide off to the other side. We've got bigger ledges on that side, and you'll have to, when you open this up, you'll see the water line. You'll have to reroute a water line because it's just kind of hanging down. Some of the wires are hanging down, some of the hoses are hanging down, so you have to get up there and zip tie them up into the ceiling there to get more, so you can access this space. And once you do that, then you can load it up. Let's talk about this toolbox. This is a perfect size toolbox for this. I can't tell you what size it is, but anyway, it takes advantage of this space and still is low enough that you can still load it with the containers that we're going to show you here in just a minute. But also it has to be, the door has to open high enough that you can unlock the drawers. If you got a taller toolbox, you wouldn't be able to open up the drawers. So this toolbox fits here perfectly. You can't get any bigger than this, otherwise you won't have the space. So if you want to come over here, we'll show you. This is what you can load in here. All 6 of these, plus these 3 bags, plus these two tool bags. They all load in there. That goes in the other side. But anyway, all of this stuff that you see can be loaded right in this compartment here. So you can't get to it from the other side, but you can see the stuff on the other side, but you just can't get to it. Now I'll show you how easy it is. We'll just load one of these containers. These are called action packers. Back in the day, Kmart used to sell them, but you can get them off of Amazon. To use it, you have to take the top off. It's real easy. Slide this in. Put the lid on it. Attach the lid. Take your boat hook. It's right back in its spot. You put all 6 in there. And the beauty of this boat hook is, if I want to get it out, just push down like that right there. And you just pull it right out. Pretty convenient. Then you got your boat hook storage, just little clips, hold it up there. Okay, this is the main cargo area. No real major modifications in here other than I added a safe, and when you buy this coach, it has a road vac, the built-in vacuum cleaner. That I've moved it to that location there up in a dead space because Winnebago thinks it needs to be against the wall back behind these 2 containers here. And once you remove that, you get space that you can put those 2 in the animal food storage area. Some people ask, what is that right there? What's where you can hook up a water hose? When I plumbed up the deionized water up front, I ran a piece of PEX all the way up, and I go, well, I'm going to stop it off right here, because a lot of times you want to hose your feet off or hose the steps off, and so that seemed like a good place to put it. And this fitting is literally, called a washing machine fitting. It just has I made this cap for it, and it has a valve, and so it's not pressurized when you're not using it. But like if you want to have a small hose to keep up here, otherwise you have to run a hose all the way underneath to the other, all the way to this side of the coach. But so it's nice to have a small hose up here. All right, nothing in this compartment other than I've added foam in these spaces up here. When you get it from the factory, you can actually look right through there and see down into the tire, and what it's doing is sending all this dust and dirt, and if it's wet, it just makes the whole inside of this thing dirty. So you just cut some of that green foam, play around, stick it in there, and glue it with the spray foam. And I've sprayed it black with Flex Seal. That's about all there is in there. And now this is the propane compartment. And this propane is strictly for camping. There's nothing on this coach that runs off of propane. But this propane, it's plumbed over to the other side so you can hook your grill up to it. That's all it's for. So if you're not using it, it's off. It's just got to open the valve and it supplies gas to the other side. However, when you get this compartment, it's completely open to the road. The pump is open to the road. The pump is covered with dirt, road grime, and so the wires are getting covered, the hoses are getting covered. So have fun working on it next time you want to work on it, and it's all covered with road grime. So what I did was this whole compartment is literally open. Now it's still supposed to stay vented, which it is, but you just start cutting your foam and put it together like a puzzle, and you can see I just used the spray foam. Now underneath the bottom of this tank is open. It's literally sitting in a hole just like most outdoor grills have. So that's open, and then in the back I've got vents. That's just household vents that I added to the foam. Foam's all glued in with spray foam. So it's completely open to the atmosphere. But it gives you can store lightweight stuff in there, and that's what I use that for. Let's see. There's absolutely nothing in there. Now we're coming to the Aqua Hot. This Aqua Hot, Winnebago earlier models have 400D. You need a 450. The later models have a 450. 450 has a little more features, but the 450 also provides a little bit more hot water. Anyway, this Aqua Hot was replaced about 6 months after I had the coach. I've had this coach for 2.5 years, and so it had to be replaced, and it was replaced from Aqua Hot. So I got the new one. I reinstalled it, and when you get your Winnebago, this whole panel here is literally down to here, back to about right here, and up. There's no way to gain access to work on the Aqua Hot. So what I did was this whole panel was off. Put the new Aqua Hot in, and this Aqua Hot comes with it's a newer model, so it has what's called a reporter, which has a different display than some of the older ones. So what I had to do is had to modify this whole panel here, and I just cut it down so I could have access to get to it to work on it. And then it's got when you cut it, you've got this trim that you put around the edge, and it dresses up the edges so it's not sharp. The other thing I added in here is I added a power reel for the power cord. The Winnebago, they like to use these things right here, but see, this feature here didn't line up with the power reel. So me being a miser of space, I put this as far back as I could, and so I could have access for other space, to use the other space, but at the same time it was in line when I want to roll it up in line. So there's a circuit breaker and a switch up here powered to this, and we also have, and this is just a 4-inch cap. It's a boat fitting. There's the boat fitting, and that's what it looks like when it's brand new. So what I have is I have this big space here where small animals can crawl up in there. So what I decided was, how am I going to fill that in? I mean, you can run it over here if you want to, but it doesn't. It's easier to wind up from this hole here. So I made this device. So once you're like parked someplace you're going to be for a while, you can just run your hose through this, and it's just a homemade device. Put on there. Put the hose in there. Keeps critters out. And then this one's just this. So when you're going down the road, you take this one out, you take that one out, put this one in, and the hole's sealed up. You can also see to the other side. You can see the other side of the storage. You don't have access to it, but you can see what's there. Now we're going to go. Oh, this is another little feature I added. So with this in place, there's like, well, where do I put my cable? I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do this. So we come up here to this, and we put like just an extension that comes down the back side of the wall. And you drill through where the two doors come together. There's a void space, and you just plug your cable in right here. Screw it in right to here. So you don't have to worry about running the wire up through this hole over here. Small cable, big hole, critters come in. Alright, so Winnebago, this coach didn't come with a power reel for the power cord. It also did not come with a power reel for the water hose. So I fixed that problem. Alright, this is the control panel. It's got positions for 8 switches, but I'm only using 6. This is for the 6 docking lights. we only got labels for 3, but the other side are the same ones. So we got front, facing front, mid. We got 2 of them facing forward, 2 facing aft. So we got them all on now, and it's tied into the light switch. It's also tied into the dimmer. So at night, if I want to dim these lights, I just use the same dimmer that I dim the lights in it also. So now we'll go outside and we'll take a look and see what these lights look like. Okay, another thing about Winnebago, see these newer coaches, they got a lot of glass. So when the sun's beating down on this side, it's very hot inside. So I added this awning. This is an awning that goes all the way, covers both of those windows. So we're in the sun. This awning keeps the heat, the direct heat right off of the window. So it actually, even though it's black, it actually makes a lot of difference. Also added one to the back. Except it's very hard. I actually need something to stand on to attach it right here. Anyway, just added that on. So anyway, it keeps the sun off of these big windows. I'm probably going to add another one to the other side as well.
All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed Ted's little walk around. Ted is a regular around here. He stops by and helps us out at the shop every once in a while. So if you see it and you come by the shop, you might just see Ted, or if you call and ask about Aquahot services, you might also get a hold of Ted that way. If you have any questions about things that Ted did, or you have your own ideas of modifications that you'd like to do, but maybe you're not quite the DIYer, but you still like the idea of it, give us a call and we can see what we can do to help make that work for you. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.